Chundria, Chundria, it's Chundria Show.
Get to know Erika McCall and Niesha Forbes. They are real-life best friends and the authors of All Good Just a Week Ago. I'm sorry? I am excited to feature Erika McCall and Niesha Forbes to the Chundria Show. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You are the authors of All Good Just a Week Ago. I'm so excited about your beautiful new book. Look at the covers in the background there. Please, one of you tell me the backstory of the book title.
So, well, when it comes to dating, like what we share in our introduction is 1 week you can be at Red Lobster sharing your last Cheddar Bay biscuit with your love, across the table. And then the next week, you don't even want to see them. You broke up with them or something happened and you're like, what happened in just 1 week that I don't want to see their face again? Like it literally was all good just a week ago. What happened in that week?
And so, for you, because you're married, Niesha, right?
Yes, happily married. Uh-huh.
You're happily married, yes. So, what was your experience like? Because obviously you haven't always been married. So do you pull from like dating life prior to being married? Was that the answer?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my journey was very colorful. I would like to describe it as being that, and that I definitely, had my fair share of frogs that I, had to dabble with before I got to, my prince. And, the thing to really keep in mind is that everybody's journey is different. Obviously, we have, some guys that are like a bad batch. We're like, okay, when is this going to end? And for me, it didn't really end until I really caught the lesson. And I caught the lesson after the spiritual whooping. But the spiritual whooping came on the back end of getting dumped by a guy that I thought was going to be that person. So I just had to change my whole strategy around. And we talk about that a lot in the book. For me, it was more of a bolder statement in saying like, you know what, I'm not having sex until I get married, period, and I was able to really reap the benefits of that action. So here we are.
You all are real life best friends, which I think is an amazing factor in this story. So obviously you all are sharing these stories over the years. What was it like for you creating the book?
It was so much fun. We had lots of laughter. I mean, we laughed together every day about some of everything. But it was so funny because we even share in the book, like we're literally laughing about different stories and scenarios that we once cried about. So that journey of being able to do that together was so much fun. And, what started out with just, as a book of just funny dating stories just ended up being lots of lessons that we were able to reflect on together.
That's beautiful. I read that you interviewed 30 women and 20 men to gather candid dating and relationship misadventures for the book. What did you learn from this very special focus group?
Well, I think that the common thread that we found was that everybody has dated someone who they thought was going to be that person, and it turned out not to be the case. And everybody has had scenarios where the dates, they haven't worked out for them in their favor, and you can go into things with like the best intentions and say like, I really, really want to make this work. Like I'm going into it with a different mindset. I have a different set of goals. But I mean, in all actuality, if you're dating somebody's representative, you're not going to get the best scenario. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work out for you. And a lot of people date with their representatives and they are not their authentic selves. And then everything catches on fire.
Factual. So how did you select the participants? Were these personal friends of yours?
Yes, a lot of them were personal friends who choose to remain nameless. But when people heard that we were writing the book, we would meet people that say, oh, I have a crazy dating story for you. And so it was very organic. Initially we just did a call for stories and we asked our friends, because this stemmed from us not just having stories, but also having friends who had crazy dating stories. And then, initially it was going to be just stories from the female point of view. But then we're like, we have lots of guy friends who have crazy stories too. Why not have them share stories and then we can just have conversations about it?
Love that. Love it a lot. So no matter our relationship status, I think we all have some bizarre dating stories, myself included. How will your readers benefit from the stories of others?
I think it gives them an opportunity to know that they're not by themselves, right? So what me and Erika really wanted to make sure that we projected in this project was the fact that what you see on the surface with someone, they have a backstory. If you see them in a really happy, healthy marriage, or if you see them really happily single in the moment, they have a backstory as to how they got there, right? And nothing that looks good on the surface, it came with some heartache along the way. So we just wanted to really engage with our readers to let them know, like, you're not by yourself, okay? Like, this crazy foolishness, it is happening, like, amongst the masses. So don't feel like you're by yourself, So, just making sure that the reader know that you're gonna hit a stump in the road. Just keep going, Just keep going. Keep pushing.
Beautiful. It's an inspirational story at best.
Yes.
I love it a lot. Uniquely, you've included the dating stories of men, which you talked about, which is an uncommon addition in relationship books. Why is it so important to do so?
Man, that was important because one, there's a lot of so-called dating gurus who write dating books. And a lot of them are men who profit from vulnerable women. And they cannot speak for all men. Although a lot of these books have some good information, that doesn't mean that they speak for all men. So we wanted to include men in on the conversation so they can share their points of view in dating, because a lot of times it's one-sided because those books are marketed just for women.
Men need help too. Absolutely.
Men need help too, and I think women also need to know that men go through things, they hurt as well. And so what's happening when you're in relationships with people who have not healed? A lot of times it can be hard. A lot of women say, oh, it's hard to meet a good man. And, men think, oh, it's hard to meet a good woman. It's really just sometimes hard to just meet good people, So, providing the human aspect of these stories. But don't get it twisted. Some men did share, some stories from their player days as well. They did share those too.
Speaking of player days, so the quarantine theme for 2020 may have made dating a challenge last year. How do you encourage single men and women eager to find long-lasting love in the new year to not lose hope?
Oh, that's a good question, because we just put out a post about dating in 2021 and just providing some tips. And one of those tips was just, work on being the person that you're looking for. I think that would be one tip that I would give. Like, a lot of people are looking for all of these things, and I believe that you attract who you are. So just work on being that person and allow things to just naturally come.
What do you think, Niesha?
I think just being transparent. I keep coming back to that because honesty in dating is vital. If you don't have it, it's gonna blow up. And it's gonna be bad, I speak about in the book how, like, on my first date with my husband, I told him, like, every single thing that I felt was a red flag about myself. Like, all of the ugly stuff that I was not, I didn't see it to be attractive. Like, if somebody was to write these things down on paper, somebody would probably be like, ooh. But I wanted him to know on the first date, because I'm like, I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want you to waste my time. And I might not be for you, so it's best to just know things up front. So I would just like to think that, dating in the quarantine, especially given the way that things are going, like, we don't know when we're going to get back out to, like, being social without a mask on your mouth, right? So the best thing that you can do, the most attractive thing that you can present to somebody is your honesty about everything. As much as you're comfortable sharing, obviously, but just keeping it real. Like, why are we lying to each other at this point in our lives?
Wise words were never spoken. Get to know Eren Legend. He's a celebrity fitness trainer, Canadian gold medalist, and an entrepreneur. And Eren Legend, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
I'm doing good, love. Thank you for having me. It's Monday. It's the new year. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do it.
New year, you're pumped. I'm pretty sure you have a whole inventory of brand new clients who are ready to kick the year off right?
Yeah, best believe. It's been kind of crazy and chaotic right now. I'm a little overwhelmed, but you know what? It's like, this is a good problem to have. So I'm just grateful for it, and I'm rolling with the punches.
I know you are. Well, let's talk about you. So as a Canadian gold medalist, shout out to you, celebrity trainer, world champion, guest speaker, and an entrepreneur. You wear your hats and you wear them well. What inspires your affinity for helping people become the best versions of themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, for me, it's just, I've always felt that where there's a will, there's a way. You know, I've always felt that anything is possible, anything can be achieved, you know, and I'm always usually inspired by seeing people who come from kind of like difficult circumstances and they've been able to have these success stories. So for myself, I always felt like there was no limitations to my capabilities. And I always try to be an optimist and see like the positive way of achieving anything. So, you know, having that type of notion in mind has been something that has allowed me to kind of motivate, educate, empower, and inspire other people that I'm working with, simply because, you know, I see it like I'm a solution-oriented individual too.
What do you love most about fitness? Because I feel like we're talking about that fit mindset, that positive mindset. So, I mean, obviously you've merged those two worlds together, the mindset, the physical. What do you love most about fitness?
I just love, you know, challenging myself and challenging other people and kind of like reaching like a pinnacle of progress that was once perceived as impossible. So whenever, for example, a new client will come along and they're very goal oriented, or they have this like idea of like, one day I'd love to do 10 push-ups, you know, to me, to them, it might seem like it's impossible and it's like something that they'll never be able to achieve, you know, but to me, like I mentioned before, I see the path of how we can do it and how it can be done. So I love kind of bridging that gap for my clients and just seeing them kind of break through and have these breakthroughs rather of like what they had perceived as something that was impossible before. So I love to be that person to kind of mediate things and just step in and say, okay, this is the goal. All right, let's reverse engineer things. Let's work backwards. Here's how we're going to do it. And then when we get it done, you know, it's like it's a huge celebratory kind of moment that we get to share together.
I love that you start with the goal, you know, and because goal setting is very important to me too. So I love that you're motivating them, and then one day they'll be able to set those goals and achieve them on their own as well. So I love that you're igniting that in them. Now, as a fitness expert, you've trained a number of industry actors, including Ricky Whittle from the Starz TV show American Gods.
Yeah.
In what ways do you help your clients? I know you just said you help them set goals. I mean, you're talking about 10 push-ups, but let's dive into how you help your clients in a myriad of ways.
Yeah, so for Ricky and for Pablo, for example, when I was working with them on American Gods, you know, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of nerve-wracking because it's like that project specifically, like my job essentially was to make them look like gods. You know what I'm saying? So like
in their physique?
Yeah, their physique. Okay. Like they were playing gods in their TV show. Okay. So for those guys specifically, when working with actors and whatnot, you know, one of the objectives is to just ensure that we're on the same page in regards to achieving a certain look. Ricky specifically had a look in mind of what he wanted to achieve for certain shirtless or sex scenes and stuff like that. So, you know, it was easier to kind of be like, okay, this is how you have to eat. This is how you have to train. And he was one of the most dedicated and committed people that I've ever worked with in my entire life. So for people like him, it's easier to motivate them because he already has the idea of what he wants to look like. But, you know, for everyday clientele and stuff like that, sometimes you know, it's difficult to try and psychologically find what is the motivating factor for them. You know, it might be, I want to look good for like my wedding, or I want to look good for this trip to, everyone's in Tulum right now. they want to look good for Tulum, or, you know, they just want to do 10 push-ups, as I mentioned, right? So once you find in like psychologically what it is that motivates that individual, then it's something that you kind of use as that carrot stick in front of them, you know, to like keep them motivated. It's like you remind them, like, do you remember like why you're here? And then usually like that's something that just kind of keeps them consistent.
So what do you help? I mean, let's talk about, you're working on sets, you're working on movie sets and TV sets, and then you also have clients who are, so what are you helping them do? Obviously build muscle, lose weight, meal plan, prepare for roles. Like, how extravagant is your service list?
Yeah, so I mean, like, if this means anything to anybody watching, like, I'm a Virgo, right? So for me, it's like, I have this hyperactive mind. I just like to be occupied. I like to be productive and stuff like that. So like, you know, in the training side of things, there's a lot of different services that I can offer to my clients. Some of my clients, they do bodybuilding competitions, which is like the most extreme form. Some of the actors, you know, they have a specific look. They want to look like God. So I get to push them to the limit. You know, like I mentioned, other people have different types of goals about specific fitness related goals. Some people might be looks, some people might be eating habits, some people it might be you know, better digestive health, some people it might be improving their mental health, and it's just cathartic for them to not think about, like, it's like being in a hair salon or a barber shop, you know, it's this kind of like social moment where they don't think about their problems and they're just kind of in the moment, like focusing on training. But you know, for me, I could do like a myriad of things, as you mentioned. It could be nutrition solely, it could be online coaching. Some clients, you know, they're global and international. So I might sit here, much like how we're doing with this Zoom meeting here, and I might just talk to them about, you know, like take them through a training program while we're here on Zoom, you know? So it's like whatever the client needs, I just make sure as a leader that I step up and I provide that, because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's bigger than me, you know what I mean? So I'm just that bridge for them, and whatever they need, like, you know, I'll either do it, or if I don't know how to do it, then I'll try and educate myself on how to do it so that I can just be of better use to these people here that need me.
Well, it sounds like you're educating them and you're making them happier and, you know, to live healthier and happier lives. So kudos to you for that. Now, you're the founder of Legend Nation, which is a platform to create more opportunities for Canadian athletes and social media influencers. Tell me about your inspiration for creating this platform and what solutions it provides.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It's just like how I kind of mentioned this. I've always seen that there's a way to do things, right? And coming from like, you know, from like a less fortunate family, it's like, you know, I never use that as like a crutch to be like, oh, well, I can't do it because we don't have money, or we don't live in the right city, or like, where do you even begin? Who do I connect with to get my dreams out, right? So for me, as I started to work through the industry and I became a world champion and professional athlete, you know, I said to myself, yet again, I said, this is bigger than me, you know what I mean? And I want to just kind of like, again, be that bridge to give people these opportunities. I've been featured in like hundreds of magazines. I've done like thousands of photo shoots. And then now with like Legend Apparel and stuff like that, I've been able to give my friends opportunities to be like models and stuff like that as well. So like, whether it's through the apparel or it's through like the coaching side of things with Legend Nation or the Legend Apparel, it's like, I just want to give people their moment. I don't personally care about being, you know, on TV and stuff like that. I don't care about being on the cover of magazines anymore. Like, I've done it enough times that for me, I'm like, you know what? This was like essentially a springboard to understand how to do it so that I can give other people that opportunity and give them their moment too. So that's my intrinsic like motivating factor, is really to just give other people this opportunity to do something that they might not know where to begin. And it's like, I feel like I got the cheat codes, you know?
I love how humble you are. Like, that's admirable. Well, out of all of the things that you've accomplished in life, what achievements are you most proud of?
Yeah, I'd have to say, for sure, it's the apparel, for the same reason as what I mentioned, you know, just being able to give people that opportunity and seeing the smile on their face and seeing how it empowers them. is like, it's like a gift that keeps giving, you know? There's no money even behind it. Like, I'll hit up some of my friends and I'll say like, yo, come over and like throw some Legend apparel on, like, shoot, you're gonna be a model today, you know? And seeing the smile that they have on their face and seeing like the photos, because I'm a photographer too, seeing the photos, I just have fun with it, right?
Right.
But seeing the smile on their face after is like, it's like, that's priceless to me, you know what I mean? So like, whenever I have an opportunity to do that, that's the thing that I'm the most proud of, is that people entrust in me and they feel like, you know what, Eren has given me this opportunity. But I could speak on maybe two other things. Is a lot of people in Toronto have been able to kind of cultivate these friendships and this community through some of the things that I do with the multiple businesses that I'm involved in. And I love seeing that so-and-so is dating so-and-so and they met at a party that I hosted, you know what I'm saying? Or this person got hired by this person and I know that I was the one that put that event together. So it's like, I love seeing people coming together, good people coming together, positive people coming together, having this moment together where they share some type of substance and value with one another, and then they carry on. You know, that's about leaving a legacy. And to me, that's the most important thing. That's my purpose in life, is to empower people and to leave this legacy that, you know, continues to resonate with other people long after I'm gone.
That's a beautiful spirit that you have. I heard you say earlier that you came from humble beginnings. Who or what do you attribute to your success?
For sure, my parents. You know, like my dad's Turkish, my mom's Haitian, Dominican, and you know, we weren't poor, but we weren't like even middle class, to be honest. And you know, you'd see a lot of other kids at school, for example, with such lavish lifestyles already, and you start to compare yourself to them, because it's like, you know, not that it's happiness or anything like that, but you just see that they have the newest clothes, or their parents are picking them up in Audis and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you got to take like 3 buses to get home and a train. You know what I'm saying? So seeing things like that, you know, or rather coming from that type of upbringing, you know, for the longest time, I wouldn't say that I resented my parents, but I was always kind of comparing myself to other people. And now looking back, I realized that coming up through the struggle and having some type of adversity that you've overcome is truly what builds character. So being in a position where, you know, you had to kind of just figure it out for yourself and, you know, just make something out of nothing is essentially what gives you these tools and these skills here that allows you to conquer the world and feel like anything is possible.
Awesome. I love the way you think. You know, I love how you've taken your upbringing, your family values, and you've turned it into a business for yourself and a brand, and also a way to, you know, affect the world at large. You're encouraging people, even on this video, and you're also encouraging your clients and everybody that you meet and come in contact with. And I think that's absolutely awesome. I love the mindset that you've adopted to continue to win. You know, on your down days, how do you motivate yourself to win?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, because I mean, I get inspiration from a lot of different people, you know, and because I wear so many hats in my life, I try and just, as I mentioned, I try and see people that aren't as fortunate as I am, that are doing more than what I'm doing. Because essentially, when I see that, I snap out of it. I'm like, you ain't got no excuse. You know, like so-and-so comes from nothing and they were able to create this, this, and that. And I don't see no excuses. They could be like somebody who's missing a limb. It could be somebody who, you know, they've never had like the support of their parents or whatever it is. I see these people who are less fortunate than I am, and I watch what they've created, and I watch how they're still humble. I watch how they're still smiling. I watch how even when they didn't have stuff, they were still giving, you know what I mean? So I look at these things, and whenever I see that, it gets me out of those unmotivated states where I'm like, hey, Eren, you know what, man? Like, you got to step it up. Life is one. You're not getting younger. And there are people that believe in me too. So sometimes, you know, that's one of the biggest catalysts for motivation and inspiration that I use. And outside of that, I'd have to say like my fans and stuff like that, they'll send me messages every single day and kind of remind me of who I am when I lose track of it. It's like they know, you know, it's like they have telepathy and they can just feel that I need like a little bit of a boost. But sometimes they'll just hit me up and they'll they'll remind me of what it is about me that inspires them, and then that just reminds myself, and I get right back to work.
I think it's kind of poetic because you spend so much time pouring into others. So I like that you are replenished. So I think that's what kind of makes the world go round, when you pour into others and then somebody comes back and pours into you. So
yeah, it fulfills me too. So.
Thank you for the inspiration. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. I thank you for being my special guest. If anyone watching is interested in your services, booking you as a speaker, or following your journey online, what's the best way to connect?
Easily, the best way is to find me on Instagram, Eren Legend IFBB Pro, and Eren is EREN. I gotta make that clear because everyone's like AARON. I'm like, nope. I don't know who that guy is, but if you just find me on Instagram, Eren Legend IFBB Pro, that's the best way to hit me up. Don't hesitate. Don't feel shy. You got a question, you just want to say hi. Whatever it is, I got nothing but love to give.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eren. You take care, and I wish you a very, very happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, and Happy New Year to you too, Chundria.
Thank you. Hi again, it's Chundria Brownlow. I want to thank you for watching this episode of The Chundria Show. Your support of the show is very much appreciated. Just before we go, I want to tell you some awesome news. I recently launched a media production company called Chundria Brownlow Media, and I am so excited to develop original television and film projects in the new year. My very first film project is a short film called Dare to Love, and production is already underway. It's a love story about a young engaged couple struggling to find common ground. Please follow me on Instagram at Chundria TV and at C Brownlow Media for updates. In the meantime, take these tips into an amazing new year. First, be kind to everyone you meet. You never know what someone is going through. Second, eat healthy foods that are good for the body. Third, relax, sleep more, and practice self-care. Fourth, spend more quality time with your family and friends. Tomorrow is not promised. And fifth, continue to dream in bright, beautiful color. Everything you want is in reach. To get more tips like these and to watch amazing interviews online, visit www.thechundriashow.com.